Luné Soleil brings us, Fatness is supernatural by breaking time and disrupting the future. Equivalent Island posts a very similar one. We can't just be anti-diet because diets don't work. We need to be anti-diet even if diets did work, because fat bodies are magical and we need them in this world. Apprehensive Mud replies, what's with this self-fetishization? Red Plaid brings us something about the Great British Bake Off. I believe this is an article from an e-zine.
The Great British Bake Off is back. Yay! As is Prue's terrible signature catchphrase, boo. My only real objection to Prue was a catchphrase she immediately introduced as her trademark. It has to be worth the calories. I first noticed the phrase in the season that premiered on Netflix in 2018, when Prue and fellow judge Paul Hollywood are evaluating a baker's white chocolate and cherry oatmeal biscuits, which she prepared with wholemeal flour. After taking a bite, Paul remarks, feels healthy. To which Prue replies, no, they're not, but it's worth the calories. After railing against this comment at the time in a blog from my former employer, I'd assumed she'd retired the saying, which I still contend brings too much of the real to the British Bake Off tent. To my recollection, the phrase did not appear at all during the last season of the show, which aired during lockdown, and if Prue used it the season before that, it must have been sparing enough that I don't recall. So imagine my dismay when Prue resurrected the expression less than halfway through the first episode of the newest season. This time, she and Paul were tasting Menace West rolls baked by a contestant named Derezno, who fills his with passion fruit caramel. After Paul points out that the bitterness from the sugar is perfect, and the passion fruit filling is delicious, Prue hastens to add, it is so worth the calories. Once again, this kind of rhetoric does not belong in the world of Great British Bake Off, whose existence is confined to a serene grain pasture in the British countryside, where everyone has a profession that sounds slightly made up, and, somehow, numerous hobbies not including baking. A Great British Bake Off is escapism, or, as my coworker Emily Alford put it last year, the decadent sublime. A place to go from the halls of everyday life. It is no great demand, I think, on a show where the objective is to make elaborate, delicious treats that such a thing as calories may temporarily suspended. At the very least, there's no need to mention them.
Pet Be Darn Doggo replies, pretty sure Mary Berry said the phrase, too, during her tenure. Not to mention all the fat jokes Mel and Sue used during their time. I'm rewatching the season Nadia wins now, and it's nearly every episode a joke about eating too much is made. Because it's true, those bakers are sick as heck of eating sugar and fat for weeks while they practice. When I watched it, it seemed like the show was all about euphemisms and puns. I mean, how many times do they have to say soggy bottom in one episode? Lionel Hutz Apprentice also adds, Mary Berry also says often on her own programs that it's better to have the full fat butter and cream than the diet alternatives. It's a weekend treat. Just have a smaller portion. Clearly, she's in league with diet culture and is a fat shamer who promotes restriction. Love Mary Berry, top of my list of fantasy grandparents. From Wild Aphrodite. A few seconds of sanity. It's a guy holding a sign that says, eating junk food is so common that when someone starts eating healthy, it's instantly labeled as dieting. The next one comes to us from Baba Yaga UK. It's a picture of a Cadbury display, and on each Cadbury bar it says, perfect just the way you are. Celeratus Lucis replies, eat 10 of these a day to become more perfect. Detour. Sometimes I'm so perfect I lie on the sofa and fall asleep. From Regular Poetry. Hard to swallow pills. There's no proven way to lose weight and to keep it off long term. There's no proven health benefits to losing weight. Everything we think we know about obesity is corporate marketing. Muesli Nam replies, some pills are hard to swallow because they're obviously made from pure BS. Equivalent Island brings us,
thin privilege is donating your body to science.
Blue is the Sky replies, Fun fact, obesity also makes you unable to donate some organs, and there's an organ shortage linked to the fact that people who sign up to be donors keep being too fat to donate. But of course, being fat doesn't affect your health and organs at all, /s. Polpolianetta adds, last fun fact, if you are morbidly obese, you are still eligible to be a donor for the anatomy lab. Unclericostan brings us, I believe it's a quote from a book, 2 critical historical developments contributed to a fetish for svelteness and a phobia about fatness, the rise of the transatlantic slave trade and the spread of Protestantism. Until we understand our history, we cannot challenge fat oppression. Soft Revolution replies, because what, the Catholics were the OG fat activists? Sean Sage Silver, Martin Luther actually created the BMI, and John Calvin put weight restrictions on carnival rides. Equivalent Island brings us,
We can name it anything we want, but if changes in family eating habits are actually in response to concerns about a child's weight, the child will know. Even if weight is never mentioned, the child will know. Better idea. Trust children's bodies, and make sure they know that their home will be a safe place for their body to exist at whatever size it is.
TX Godfather. Or, you calmly explain to a child the benefits of eating healthy, which is why the family is going to do so. You explain the consequences of not eating healthy, which is why the family will not do that. You do the same thing for exercise as well. Most importantly, lead by example and don't be a hypocrite. Children are both impressionable and intelligent. If you explain the why and lead by example, they will likely follow. From Lever.
Stop trying to lose weight. What do you do when you lose something? You're programmed to go find it. How about you visualize yourself looking good and feeling your best, then do the things that make you feel that way?
D. Bonbon replies, I've lost a lot of dead weight in the form of toxic boyfriends over the year. Should I go find them too? Lune Soleil brings us, next time someone asks you if you should be eating that, ask them what they have done to dismantle white supremacist heteropatriarchy lately. Windy City Knight replies, I'd tell them that I've been arrested for protesting police brutality and then ask them again if they should eat their 5th donut for the day. What should I do brings us, education time. Let's do this again, kids, since blank insisted on it. Insecurities does not equal oppression. Minor inconvenience does not equal oppression. Struggles does not equal oppression. Fat people suffer oppression. Straight-sized people don't have internalized fat phobia. They are plain and simple fatphobic, okay? Fat or straight-sized, you're capable of being fatphobic. Acceptance is the first step to unlearning. Stop feeling so attacked when you're told you're trash. It's a great moment to start working toward being less trash. Sputnik replies, They had me in the first half, not gonna lie. They were this close to self-awareness. All right, put on your helmets, because it's now time for Reagan Chastain. She posted on Instagram, I don't know who needs to hear this, but you don't need to click on that best and worst bodies article. What is she talking about? Nobody is ever forced to click on a link. A lot of the machine that oppresses us runs on our attention. We can deprive it of fuel and support ourselves in the process. That last sentence, it's so close to realizing how dieting works. It's strange. How does she not see it? All right, here's another one. Even if you believe fat people receive less benefit from joint surgery or that the risk is higher, that doesn't mean the procedure should be denied. She understands that the risk isn't of being annoyed, right? It's of dying. From Equivalent Island.
The anesthesia used in stomach amputation surgery is the same anesthesia that can be used for other types of surgery. The idea that fat people need to lose weight before surgery because of anesthesia is a bunch of unethical, fatphobic gatekeeping BS.
Adam replies, Imagine thinking you know more about anesthesia than the anesthesiologist who's responsible for keeping you alive during surgery. If they say it's not safe, it's not safe. The OR isn't some fat acceptance safe space. Equivalent Island brings us, Blaming fatness on emotional eating caused by trauma is fatphobic. It's another way of saying I'm a thin person trapped in a fat body in order to separate yourself from fat people. Additionally, it perpetuates the stereotype that having a fat body means there's a problem. Kangaroo replies, so what would be their explanation? Let's say someone loses their entire family and then gains 200 pounds. It's not emotional eating? It's a post-traumatic set point explosion? A spontaneous DNA realignment? Renha adds, all the genetic set points of their family members suddenly jumped from the dead into the surviving person and added up until that person's new set point was 350 pounds. Shaking my head, this is basic biology. Everyone knows that's what happens when a blood-related family member passes. The Fox is Here brings us, y'all will never make me feel bad for not adhering to the narrow Western standard of beauty. The requirement to be thin, petite, short, hairless, quiet, submissive, innocent is all rooted in a word I cannot say here, but it's referencing people who like other people who are too young. Scream about your preferences all you want, but maybe try to unpack that. Theophile Escargot replies, FAs. Any woman who's not fat is childlike, and anyone who's attracted to them is a word I can't say. Also FAs. Let's use baby talk like tom-tom, obsess over candy, demand treats all the time, throw tantrums if denied junk food, or a theme park ride. Equivalent Island brings us,
please stop applauding people who post their intentional weight loss journeys and before and after pics. First, it's fatphobic and perpetuates the narrative that thin is better. Second, it sets that person up to feel embarrassed and ashamed when they gain the weight back. 95% of people who intentionally lose weight gain it back, plus some within 1 to 5 years.
Right Count replies, all achievements are brief. We're all going to die. And, if we're lucky, we'll get old and decrepit first and bear witness to the temporary nature and true meaninglessness of achievement. So, don't congratulate anyone for anything, lest they feel good about something that doesn't last forever. Equivalent Island brings us another one.
As a fat person, I have love and compassion for the people in my life who are still dieting, restricting, and they will never be the people I am closest to or trust the most. My fatness is not separate from their pursuit of thinness. You cannot be pursuing thinness and be safe for fat bodies.
Of Stories and Songs replies, I don't know how I could ever live my life without being safe for fat bodies. Oh, wait, I know. Exactly the same as always, seeing as your fat body has nothing to do with my life, or anything I do. Eli, the blunted one, adds, the thing is that it does have bearing on your life. Maybe not directly, but obesity as a whole is a drain on society. Obesity is one of the reasons we don't have universal health coverage in this country. Obesity is horrible for the environment. I'm not going to say I'm an environmentalist, but at least I try. By just existing in their current form, obese people are a larger drain on our limited resources. Believe it or not, Equivalent Island again.
I don't want to hear about your diet. I don't want to hear about your weight loss. Doesn't mean you can't talk about it, but I hope you will consider how you discuss a topic so ingrained with misogyny, classism, racism, and fat phobia. The body size you are excited to leave behind is also the body someone else is living in, and trying against the chorus of our entire culture to love themselves in today. Please remember that.
Equivalent Island replies to themselves, know what else is rooted in racism? The sugar trade. We can also talk about exploitation and the exploitation of children in the chocolate and coffee industries if you would rather. Fast food predation in urban and rural food deserts. The effects on the planet of industrial monocrops and overconsumption. Just stop with the holier-than-thou. Equivalent Island must have been working overtime because here's another one. I want HAES, registered trademark medical providers who go beyond not recommending weight loss because the weight loss isn't sustainable. I want HAES, medical providers who wouldn't recommend weight loss even if it was sustainable because they recognize the value, worth, and importance of fat bodies and wouldn't want to eliminate them even if they could. Phoenix No More replies, so, a propagandist? A yes man? An unprofessional toxic enabler? Take your pick. I've got more. Fluffy Emotion brings us,
joyful movement. Would you still do the same exercise if it didn't change the way your body looks physically?
Lionel Hutt's apprentice replies, on today's episode of Total Word Salad Bollocks, we totally disregard the benefits of exercise on mental health. I run because it turns the volume down on an otherwise very loud and overwhelming world for me, and helps me manage my ASC better. Side effects include losing weight and Neo-style bullet swerving of diabetes. But the short answer for a lot of people who lift weights is, they probably would stop lifting weights if it didn't increase the size and strength of their muscles. Gentle Tunberry brings us,
Rebel Wilson gained weight with the purpose of using fatness to advance her career, and capitalized off of fat stereotypes, making our bodies the butt of every joke, just as long as it was convenient for her, and now it's never too late to improve yourself. Absolutely vile.
Just Forgot replies, Rebel Wilson used her physical appearance to advance her career. That is correct, but then again, what actor doesn't do that? She got tired of being fat and decided to do something about it to feel better. And who wouldn't at least try? From Salt with My Wounds.
Genetics. People's height is genetically programmed. Diet culture. Of course, makes sense. Genetics. Same for shoe size, nose shape, hair color. Diet culture. Yes, celebrate diversity. Genetics. Weight too. Diet culture. Absolutely not. Everyone could be skinny if they tried hard enough. Have you considered keto?
Kai the Devourer replies, why do people spend money to get advice from dietitians who believe you should say fudge it and do what feels good in the moment? Isn't everyone already doing this for free anyway? Murmrax replies, they need someone with a veneer of authority to tell themselves it's somebody else's fault. That's what I used to do anyway. Elemental Workshop adds, this, and people will pay good money to hear it too. Altsomnia, companies do it too, with consultants. From C-Dubs.
This is not in blank for a reason. I'm not here to debate diet theories. I'm just here to tell my story. If you have read my posts on dieting, you know I am not a it's just calories in versus calories out person. I think that there's a lot more to it, and new research seems to be going in that direction. I talked to a good friend about different theories, fasting, body confusion, ghrelin versus leptin, and hormones in general triggering fat cell death, etc. We also talked about how different diets have different effectiveness for different people. We know as a fact, blank weight is hormonal in nature. And exercise is worthless numerically. Do the math, and casual ongoing exercise just does not burn a ton of calories. And despite my story, I still firmly believe that weight loss goes deeper than calories in, calories out. This summer I started eating less, 1 helping of dinner, no dessert. I don't have to stop for food on my way home even though I'm hungry because I can get a little something at home. But strangely enough, I haven't done a daily fast like I used to twice a week. I also still slam diet drinks. Also this summer I started landscaping my house. I've dug up 2 lawns by hand, fought the rototiller, moved close to 100 stones, 20 to 50 pounds each, by hand from one place to another. It's such a big task that I'm still working on it. I started at 260 pounds and today I weigh 217. Fudge, I'm the poster child for eat less, exercise more. I have become everything I argue against, and here's the worst part. Blank still has no solution to her weight problem, and she is at the limits of frustration so I can't celebrate my weight loss with her. Family members have commented on my weight loss, but don't do it with her around. It also feels... No, it does feel shameful that I have been so successful, and despite all of her effort, nothing.
Marquis de Cleveland replies, I feel like in this convoluted logic the system hasn't been disproved. I think they're suggesting it was just an unfortunate coincidence that when the body confusion gremlins, or whatever, made them lose weight, they were also eating less and exercising, which made it look like weight loss is as simple as calories in versus calories out, even though, according to them, it's not. Judging from the stuff I read on here, I don't think it's out of the question that this person thinks that accidentally lending credence to the idea that weight loss comes down to calories is doing violence to other fat people, which is why they're so upset sounding. From Unclericostan.
For me, however, I choose to see fatness as valuable, as part of my wellness. So the celebration of lost weight feels more like a celebration of thievery, theft of a fat person's ability to see themselves as someone who matters, theft of a person's right to see their body as neutral rather than inherently bad, a breach of consent on how a person enters into a relationship with their fat body. The only way to undo this is not merely to dive into who is and is not losing weight for all the right reasons, but rather to devalue the weight loss entirely, Return to fat people the life you've earnestly and jubilantly stolen. Our fatness deserves to be ours to have, to hold, to love, and to value.
All that was in response to Adele's weight loss. Bubble Bumble Jumble replies, and I won't sing it, because that would kill all of you. There's some butter waiting in my fridge. I've eaten so much, I could break a bridge. Finally you weigh a fraction of me. Go ahead and sell us out. I'll go on a posting spree. The stretch marks on my tum remind me of us. They keep me thinking we could have ate it all. I weigh half a ton. I'm always breathless. I can't help bleeding. We could have ate it all. Rolling in the beef. You had those fries inside your hand, but you traded them for some beets. Posted by Decimated Dreams.
Fearing fatness because you think it makes you unhealthy is fatphobia and healthism in action. When I ask people why they are afraid of being fat, and what comes up often is, if I'm fat, I will be unhealthy. If I'm fat, I will be unfit. If I'm fat, I will be unattractive. If I'm fat, I will be a failure. Health and fitness is the number one thing that folks mention when I ask this question, quickly followed by wanting to be attractive.
Fruity Pebbles replies, Healthism is a new one. I love how hard they try to scare people to staying fat.
If you don't want to be fat, you'll be politically incorrect.
Well, I just so happen to not give a poop. I guess I'm healthist and fatphobic because I absolutely do not want to be fat for both aesthetic and health reasons. Cancel me, I guess. Love Dove Bunny brings us.
Trigger warning. Bariatric surgery. WTF.
Is WTF a trigger for a lot of people?
I live in a small Canadian town. Most big surgeries are sent to the nearest city, which is an hour and a half away. Anyway, the hospital here just announced that they will be offering bariatric surgeries, and people are so happy about this. The local paper, local radio show, etc., everyone is acting like this is the best news ever. I'm so frustrated that nobody seems to realize this is actually harmful. I just know doctors here are going to start recommending the surgery to their patients.
Mini Librarian replies, a hospital just doesn't offer a new service and hope people will come. They start offering a surgery because there's already a demand for it. Doctors are not going to start recommending it for their patients in your area. They already are, and this just makes it easier. OP is now terrified it might be suggested to them. Red Bleu brings us, people generally gain weight when they are in a happy and stable relationship. Right count. Yeah, that's because people tend to eat in groups and want to eat when food is around, and many dating rituals are associated with food. So when your shiny new love interest says, how you doing? Do you want to go out for dinner before the movie? You say, yeah, sure. It ain't that deep or complicated. The Crystal Thestral brings us.
I used to think dieting was empowering because I bought into the idea that I could shape my body into whatever I wanted it to be. It was a lie. Dieting steals your power to make your own decisions and then blames you when you fail. Does that sound empowering?
I thought she took her own power to decide to change her body by dieting. So how did dieting steal her power? I don't understand. From Moon, the anti-diet dietitian writes, what if I was told to lose weight for my health by a provider? 1. Your lab results indicate all normal values, but your provider tells you to lose weight just because your BMI is high. That provider is displaying weight bias and is giving you misinformed and unethical care. Time to find a weight-inclusive provider. Like me. If there is concerning lab value or health condition that needs to be addressed and the provider's first response is to lose weight, without other considerations, that is also weight-biased and lazy care. All medical conditions are impacted by multiple factors, some that are modifiable behaviors and some that are not. Weight is not a behavior. 3. If your provider is treating you with weight bias due to your weight body size, ask them, what recommendation would you make to someone with my exact same conditions and lab values but in a smaller body, normal BMI? You don't deserve judgmental and body-shaming treatment. Pensive Chatter replies, I cannot overstate how strongly I feel in the opposite direction. In my mind, prescribing any medication or recommending surgery in situations where lifestyle changes are a viable alternative is an ethical violation. Medical intervention is almost always dangerous, and there's often a lifestyle choice that isn't nearly as harmful. That would be like starting a war with another country, with all the terrors that go along with war, before even trying to talk to the other leaders about your grievances. Equivalent Island brings us.
Do something different this year. Keep the candy in your house. Eat it. If you start to run low, get more. Eat that too. Keep repeating. Do this all year. See what's possible in your relationship with candy by next Halloween.
Hot egg. I don't want a relationship with candy. Interaction Anxious brings us.
Healthy, intentional weight loss is not a thing. I'm an expert on intentional weight loss. I've read hundreds of books, consumed thousands of articles, counted millions of calories, and vigorously adopted at least 20 different healthy lifestyles. That's why I know for sure that healthy weight loss is not a thing for me and for most of us. Intentional weight loss is associated with weight cycling, weight gain, slow metabolism, eating disorders, digestive disorders, all the health complications associated with obese, increased chance of having a child with disordered eating disorder.
Marley replies, if you can't do something, how can you be an expert at it? If I read a bunch of books on knitting, but I try it and just can't figure it out, are you going to think I'm an expert based on how many books I've read? And if I start talking about how knitting can't be a thing because I can't do it, how long is anyone going to listen to me? What even is this logic? Lisa Daisy brings us. It's a picture of some chainmail armor.
Building my anti-fatphobia suit of armor one experience at a time. Filled my kitchen with binge food.
Princess Bebop. Specifically stocking up on binge food. Some hardcore self-destruction right there.
Unfollowed all dieting friends?
Q Without You replies, wow. I don't know about you, but my friends do stuff I don't like all the time. In fact, I don't think I've ever met someone who agrees with me on everything. But then again, I don't make everything about me.
Ate what I wanted at the restaurant.
Super Poo Poo replies, ate what I wanted in a restaurant. That's a good thing if it's something unhealthy. It's dieting or fat phobia if you choose to eat a salad or don't want a dessert. From Unclericostan. It's a picture of Patrick Starr looking down on his body and not liking what he sees. Me, I'm finally starting to feel a little more confident with how my body looks. Smile. My body dysmorphia. Look again.
One day we'll be able to talk about how most people's body dysmorphia is just fat phobia.
Sensational replies, as a person who experiences body dysmorphia, I can tell you straight up that we aren't worried about you being fat. Voris Pube Smack brings us. I still don't feel like they're lucky to keep it off. I've kept the weight off by being disciplined with my nutrition and workouts. There's nothing lucky about hard work. People don't gain weight because they're unlucky. Some dietitian replies, there are a ton of factors that impact weight aside from nutrition, workouts, and discipline. Many fat people have probably worked even harder than you have and not been able to lose weight, or maybe they did and couldn't keep it off. Your personal experience is called anecdotal evidence, which is like the least valid form of evidence that exists when we're talking about nutrition science and health. Your personal experience is not representative of all women everywhere. You lost weight and kept it off. In my opinion, that's lucky. Did you read the caption? I'm not ignoring that people like you don't work hard. That doesn't mean you're not lucky. I've been working out consistently since high school, and the way I look is mostly luck, genetics, not my habits. Doesn't mean I don't work hard in the gym or eat healthy. It means I'm not gaslighting other people's experiences on my own. Dangerous Safety Pin replies, in addition to all the other problems, the red poster doesn't know what gaslighting means. Hint, it doesn't mean disagreeing with someone. Equivalent Island brings us.
Your body might be bigger now than it was a year ago. It may have softened and exhaled. It survived a pandemic, which is no easy task. There may be roles you haven't met before. There may be stretch marks to document your survival. Your face may be fuller, and you may feel you are greeting it for the first time. You may take up more space now than you did a year ago, and thank goodness you do. Thank goodness your body knew that surviving meant expanding, and is wise enough to know that it needed to grow to get through.
Book Hermit replies, it's not that mystical, fam. I dropped the gym habit and picked up a stress eating habit. Cause and effect. Not mysterious inner workings of my meat vessel. From crazy can talk to crazy. Fat shaming is hurtful, but obesity is linked to 53 diseases: stroke, cataracts, obstructive sleep apnea, hypoventilation syndrome, heart disease, hypertension, pulmonary disease, diabetes, cancer, gynecological abnormalities, osteoarthritis, gout, phlebitis, I don't know what that is, fatty liver disease, steatohepatitis, don't know what that is either, steatosis. Okay, they're just making up words now. Cirrhosis and gallbladder disease. It continues, but fat acceptance is lethal. Miss BB replies, sadly, FAHES followers blame fat phobia and doctors for any outcomes rather than the actual cause. Randy Randerson, fat person dies in a fat family.
Why did the doctors kill him?
From Cannabis Farmer. A random fool, being fat isn't normal or cute. Mother Earth gives us elephants, grizzly bears, hippopotamuses, and those cute sea mammals that live in Florida, whose name I cannot recall right now. Proud Unemployment replies, literally none of these animals are fat. And 2, stop comparing yourself to animals. Next thing you're going to argue that it's perfectly fine to walk on all fours, smell each other's butts as a greeting, and to fling poop at people. So flinging poop at people isn't good? Lisa brings us, there's a picture of a very obese cat. Fat phobia self-check. What do you see? Did you have a thought or concern about this cat's health? Well, that's fat phobia. Mwah. Nasorian replies, we had to put my cat down because she had diabetes because my family used to give her so much food. Really messed up. I got home from college one day and my cat was pulling herself on her front legs, hind legs dragging, and the next day she was euthanized. Don't be an asshole to your cats. And that brings us straight into Dechonkers. The first one's from I.J. Caitlin. It's a picture of their large brown dog. It was 101 pounds when they adopted him, and now it's down to 76 pounds. Her coat is really nice too. Sasha, 14, 101 pounds to 76. K-Prue brings us the next one. The first picture is a picture of a large gray and black striped cat. He looks pretty obese. He's strangely sitting on his butt on the bed, so that part's cute. And in the second picture, he's walking around and looking rather svelte. The chunker weighed in at 13 pounds today, down from 21 pounds when we adopted her last year. She's doing so good. From Rocket Tonight, there's 2 pictures of a white cat with black spots and green eyes. In the first picture, he's laying down on a bed. It's hard to tell if he's overweight or not because of the angle. In the second picture, he's laying outside on some bricks. Doesn't look comfortable, but I guess cats like what cats like. Penelope had her first vet visit since we adopted her in April and needs to lose 3 pounds. Never had to put a cat on a diet before, so is this something we could just ease her into or just do it? She has been free feeding, but we're thinking about a scheduled feeder. How many treats should we limit to? Ask your vet. Some Say Crazy brings us 2 pictures of their brown dog. In the first picture, he looks obese enough that he looks actually unhappy. In the second picture, he looks happy and like he's ready to go running at any moment. Help! Post in comments because I don't know what I'm doing apparently. It's hard to tell if the dog's lost weight or gained weight. Just Nope the Fudge Out brings us a picture of their brown dog. It's got a strange stripes on its coating. Kinda looks like he's made out of a caramel candy. Kinda looks delicious. My boy is struggling to lose weight. More info in comments. Sweet Bebe brings us a picture of their gray cat with yellow eyes. He seems to be ready to use the computer. It took a while, but Peanut is down 2.4 pounds. I'm so proud of her. She was 15 pounds when we adopted her. Summer Peach brings us a picture of their cat that's white and black. Chunky Boy lost the weight she needs to. Oh brings us a picture of their gray cat. He looks kind of unhappy. It's hard to tell if he's overweight or not because of the angles. Wally was 8.5 kilograms, now 6.5 kilograms, still a bit big. Green Age Mutant Ninja brings us a picture of their black cat. It has a white patch on its throat. We may have seen this cat before. Tomorrow marks 1 year of Sushi's diet journey, 3 pounds down, but just as derp. Okay, this one wasn't posted in Dechonkers, but it is a hilarious picture. It's a picture of a baby owl running on the ground. To me, it looks like somebody in an owl costume running around. Somebody writes a little story. After the breakup with Alan, Jennifer went hardcore on her fitness. Eat, train, sleep, repeat. Bigfoot Believer brings us a picture of their brown and black striped cat. He's very fluffy. Peanut has been on a diet since June and has chip reader for her food. She's only lost 2 ounces and needs to lose 2 pounds. Any suggestions?
Thank you to everyone who helps support me to make these videos, and to everybody who comes and watches. A special thanks goes out to Hannah McNally, Carl Williams, and Sarah Ahern for their generous support. That's the end of the video. If you liked it, consider clicking like and subscribe. If you really liked it, consider becoming a member. As always, there should be more FatLogic videos every other Monday, and on the weekends I'll be looking at videos made by fat logicians.